Happy Sunday night, everybody. Welcome to a special edition of Rogues Gallery Live. Good evening, everybody. Like I said, this is Rogues Gallery Live. This is episode 179, a special Sunday night edition. And you can see we have a packed house tonight. I don't even know if we've ever had this many people in the show ever. This is awesome. So we have a very special guest, actually guests this evening. We have a statue company represented here tonight. We have Reventure Studios, which we have had Todd and Dave on, I think, one other time when we talked a little bit about this. And they've got a lot of new things to show us. And we also have a special guest as well. Frankie is with us as well. So Frankie, nice to meet you and have you on the show. We also have JWR right here in the house. How's it going, sir?
I'm good. What's up, nerds? Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday. We got Billy Rios in the house.
Doing good. How's everybody doing? Looking forward to good conversation.
Great to have you here, my friend. We also have Mr. Todd from Spec Fiction. How's it going, sir?
It's going well. Thank you for having me. Looking forward to, having a good conversation about the new stuff.
Absolutely. We're glad to have you here. And we're just complimenting you on your amazing Michelle Pfeiffer shirt.
Thank you. Yeah.
We're getting low-key Todd tonight.
That's right. In third place for the shirt department, we have Dave Igo in the house with his amazing Tweeterhead shirt.
It's not nearly as cool as like Mad Hatter, Michelle Pfeiffer, crazy people face shirts. I should just go change real quick. I'll be right
back. We have also Eric B from All Things Art. How's it going, sir?
Doing good. Good to see everybody tonight. Yeah, we have a jam-packed panel here.
Fresh back from your booze cruise, so that looked like a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Yeah, went to Bermuda, so it was really cool.
Nice to see you didn't get lost.
Yeah,
I made it back. So, yeah.
That's right. Poop cruise for you.
I've seen so many. Yeah, exactly. I've seen so many documentaries about cruises. So
me too.
Yeah. But yeah.
They are germ fest, but they're a lot of fun sometimes. So anyway, I'm glad you're back safe. And then last but not least, we have Jeff Delaney from the Secret Sanctuary. How's it going, sir?
My shirt's blank, but you can just imagine any character. It's a blank canvas.
I like that. As I say, you're just back from the Disneyland 70th anniversary day a couple days ago. Did you have a good time?
Had a great time. They put on a good show. It was really fun. Yeah, it was a total zoo. But yeah, I'm sure they'll do it again in 5 years for the 75th.
I would imagine so. And then, of course, we were there for the 50th or the 60th, I guess. So we're going to come out in the fall and visit you guys. So nice. Looking forward to that as well. So anyway, welcome to the show, everybody. We're really glad to have you guys here. And, we love collectibles. We love art on this channel. And you guys are bringing some exciting new art to the community. And so if people do not know about Reventure, do you guys want to kind of talk a little bit about what it is, how you guys kind of got started, and then we'll kind of look through, we have 100 photos to look through, and, a lot of new things to see, including not only what you're working on, but also, Dave, what you're working on with Tweeterhead as well. And whatever else the chat, if you guys have questions for these amazing guys, please, feel free to ask, and we'll try to get to as many of them as we can. So I'll let you guys start.
Go, Todd. Go.
No,
about us.
No, I think you should, discuss how you met Frankie at PowerCon.
Yeah.
Was it PowerCon?
Basically,
you tell the story. You're better at it.
I work with Tweeterhead, and I went from like full-time helping chat with everything to just kind of like focusing on He-Man, and I was helping him with like some production stuff, like a lot of the marketing material and a lot of DC stuff too. And he's like, hey, how would you feel about focusing on just He-Man? And that I'm like, dude, I love that. And that frees me up to like pursue some other stuff. So at PowerCon, 2 years ago, I met Frankie. He came up to the Tweeterhead booth when I was setting up exhibitor day, and I didn't know who he was. And he saw the Skeletor life-size bust that we had there and was like freaking out on it. I think I can safely say, right, Frankie?
Yeah,
it's not
very
over.
much so.
He's the best thing I've ever seen in my life. Who's the genius that came up with this idea? And I was like, well, that's me,
Pretty close.
sir.
Pretty
Yeah, I
accurate.
didn't sculpt it. That was Amilcar Fong, amazing artist. But yeah, so met Frankie, saw he was an exhibitor. He said he worked with the Frazetta Museum. I'm like, oh, how'd you get that job? He's like, well, I'm the grandson. I'm like, what? And I'm like, what's your name? He's like, Frank. I'm like, you're Frank Frazetta? So that's when I met him. We talked about, I think it was like, you mentioned this recently, Frankie, like how he was looking at the Skeletor bus. I was like, man, imagine a Death Dealer life-size bus like this. That'd be awesome. So we talked, and I knew Chad wanted to focus on just like, the DC stuff and Elvira and He-Man stuff. So when we were talking about maybe doing it with Tweeterhead, I was like, well, I might pursue some stuff on my own, do my own side stuff. And Frankie told me to keep in touch. So that was in like August. And actually before August, I knew of Todd. Like we ran into each other at cons casually, but that Comic-Con, it's like a month before, was the first one where I didn't have a booth at all. Like I was letting a friend borrow my personal booth. Tweeter, I didn't have a booth. So it was like my first con in 15 years. Like I actually just like walk the floor like Jeff Delaney does every year and enjoy it, and not be, anchored and handcuffed to one place. And so I ran to Todd at a bar in like the middle of the day with a bunch of other people, and we were talking. I'm like, where do you live? He's like, Costa Mesa. I'm like, that's not far. We should hang out. And so met Frankie a month later. Then I had some traveling, some family stuff to take care of. Then a month after that, met up with Todd. He showed me kind of like his whole setup, his whole operation with Spec and his gallery space, which is amazing. And I was like, dude, what's stopping you from like making your own statues? He's like, well, I did this one with a friend, and maybe if I do enough of these, I can get a licensor. And I'm like, what if you knew a guy that's been doing this for 18 years that has connections to licensors? So I told him, I talked with Frankie, and Frankie said we could pursue Frazetta stuff with the Frazetta Museum. And so that's kind of like how it all kind of came together. So it was just weird stars aligning like 1 month after a 3-month period of stuff. So it was crazy. So here we are.
That is really awesome. And so, obviously you have a lot of creative minds going. And so what kind of made you think of, okay, what's the first piece going to be? Like, I would assume that would be something you would have brainstormed day one, I would think.
Yeah, I forgot if Todd and I really talked about that initially, or if it was like after that hangout and we had like a follow-up call to talk about like the ideas of it. And then I think I reached out to Frankie and was like, hey, so my business partner, Todd, I can make art. Todd has the, all the setup for logistics, shipping, fulfillment, warehouse, customer service, like the really hard stuff. Like a lot of people, when they pursue making statues or want to make statues, they think it's like, I have an idea and I know a sculptor and I can get 3D printed and maybe I can find a painter like Eric, I guess he paints sometimes,
He does.
It's like, that's the easy part, I would argue. And then the harder 80% of the effort is like post prototype, marketing, soliciting, working with a factory, getting it like marketing's huge. Letting people know you exist is huge. Getting things out of the factory onto a container, knowing when to ship directly from the factory to a customer to save overseas shipping costs, or bring it here, get it to a port, get to a place, warehouse, customer service, sales, returns. It's like, oh my God. So when Todd said he had like all that figured out, it's like, dude, awesome. So Frankie had more confidence that, not just make cool looking stuff that could hopefully do his grandfather proud, but deliver it. Because that's a huge part of it. Like showing a prototype is one thing that we were kind of talking about earlier. Showing a bunch of stuff announcing a bunch of stuff is fine, but delivering the goods is like a whole nother thing. So
absolutely. And Frankie, had other people come to you in the past to create some of this art, or is this kind of the first time you guys have had that conversation where like, okay, well, this could really happen, this could really come to fruition?
So I just entered the business, honestly, the year I met Dave. I had worked another career, decided it was time to part ways with that one, and then hit the Frazetta business. And we had licensees prior that did statues. We had ARH, Level 52, Warrant Team. There are quite a few of them throughout the years. For me specifically, this was the first one first company that I found, or guys that I found that I really wanted to pursue statues with. I tend to be very picky. And I like to work with guys that I feel like I can get along with because it makes the whole process easier. So for me, these are the first guys specifically. Other than that, we have worked with quite a few in the past, but never to this extent. I feel like Dave and Todd they said like every time there'd be like, there were certain hiccups with Egyptian Queen, which I think we all kind of expected, especially she's a ridiculously difficult piece to get right. So complicated, and the paint is just nuts. And just like them being new as far as working together as a business, there were hiccups that we expected. And every time there was something, he was like, I'm so sorry, we're delayed again. I'm like, dude, it's been like a year. I don't know how, like, we're used to like years to get a statue out, not a year or 2 years. Usually it's like 4. So it's a cool, it's different. It's a nice change of pace, I think, to have these like gorgeous statues. Like that's the thing too, is they're getting them out so quickly, but they're so well done that it's just like it's kind of the best of both worlds for us. But I'm very excited to be working with these guys.
That's awesome. So just curiosity, are you wanting to try to keep edition sizes kind of small, or are you wanting to go big, or like where are you guys kind of at with your initial releases?
Go, Todd. Your turn.
I mean,
Todd.
we don't we don't know, to be honest. We're just kind of feeling it out, honestly. And this is our first release, so we'll kind of know. We'll know from this release what the demand is for Frazetta pieces. I mean, I've collected Frazetta pieces for a long time, and for me, I've always loved them. I've seen, on different statue forum, I've seen a bunch of other collectors love Frazetta pieces, but it was kind of like a side, it was mainly Marvel DC, and then it was some of those people that collected Marvel DC also, it kind of bled into Frazetta as well. But I've always loved it, but I know that it wasn't like selling like 10,000 and stuff like that. I knew that. I knew that the edition sizes back then were smaller. So for this one, we're just trying to feel it out and just see how it is. That's why, we're setting the deluxe version of the quarter scale version at a low. I mean, in my opinion, it's a low edition size. And again, for our next releases, we'll kind of see what happens. But our intent isn't to be like, we're going to make it super low, a low edition size. We're not intending to do that. We're just kind of like, again, we're kind of just, this is our first release as a company. So we're just kind of like seeing how the market is right now. Because obviously the market is slow with statues. So
and
I'm trying to bring like a little freshness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I feel like as collectors too, there is an appeal, not always, but there's something to knowing this piece isn't mass produced. It's kind of like, oh, hey, it's limited to a point. There's maybe secondary market value will go up in price to a degree. Not saying like it has to go insane, but I don't think anyone's excited on a pre-order model to jump into something that they might assume they can get later for cheaper or something like that. They want to be a part of this early on. And with it being our first piece, we also know it's important to get it right and make the first one kind of limited. So if you missed out on it, there will be versions of it that are a little more open. Like we have the deluxe, which will be limited. Then we have the standard, which is mainly just her and less of the base. And that'll be open based on pre-order. So it'll just be like, hey, as long as you can pre-order, you get it. So the demand's met with that one. So we're trying to like have the best of both worlds, have a limited one for people that want this to feel like, oh, this is valuable beyond, like, obviously it looks great, hopefully, but it will retain its value, then have another one that's more accessible for people. And then the 1/10 scale, that's way more like desktop display friendly. Like you don't have to worry about like, where am I going to put this giant thing? So yeah. And then
I feel like you guys are kind of hitting the sweet spot right now because, the market has been so oversaturated with the same characters over and over again, which, I'm a Batman guy. I admit there's been a million Batman statues and I'll buy the next one too. But the things that you're going to be offering are brand new. There's something that the collectors are going to be interested in, I think, because it's new and different and it's not the same old thing. And so I think right now is the perfect time for you guys to come in and say, hey, look, we got this is beautiful art, and I think people will gravitate toward that.
Thanks. And even like looking at, I think Jeff made a post today with, your Rebel, Terminator, Red Sonja, and Indiana Jones. It's like, sometimes you don't need like I think the Egyptian Queen is just like people who like, if you have the Deja Thoris from Sideshow, it's like this goes great with that or any other fantasy girl or whatever. You know, it's like it just Frazetta inspired so many people. It's almost like fulfilling that full, like bringing it full circle. You know.
Well, it's like the thing you said. It's not Marvel or DC. You could be opening the door to new collectors who may not know about statues or who are just into fantasy art and maybe want to get into the statues and pair the statue with the actual artwork on the wall.
Yeah.
Which would be pretty cool. Are you guys offering the like art prints or anything with the statue by any chance?
Yes.
We literally talked about last night. Yeah, the deluxe. The deluxe version will come with like a 18 by 24 version of the print. Frankie will be printing it on their high quality museum quality paper, so we're not just going to Kinko's. You know, get these made. They're gonna be insane.
Yeah, I mean, like when we first met with Frankie, Dave, and I, and we had the meeting, nothing was discussed other than making something great that does justice to, you know, Frank Frazetta's artwork. That's all it was. It wasn't like we want to sell a ton of these. We want to have a low edition size. We want to have a high edition. It was nothing like that. It's just, this company is just about making cool Frazetta art pieces. And that's basically it. You know, that's like the bottom line. And if we sell a bunch of them, awesome. If we sell 100 of them, awesome. You know, like if we sell one, it's not awesome, but it's cool.
He's gonna be
I'll be the one buying it.
He wouldn't even. Well, that's the thing too. But like, you know, Frankie, again, we're all, me, Frankie, Dave, we're all on the same page. We just want to like do justice to Frank Frazetta's artwork, and that's the first thing. You know, that's the first thing we want to do when we like think about what piece we're going to make next. We're like, what would be cool? What would just be cool to us? You know, and hopefully other people like it. And that's the goal. You know, that's pretty much it. How it is right now. So yeah.
That's awesome. Do any of you guys have questions for the panel before we move on to some photos?
Come on,
let's see photos. Let's see what we're talking about.
Yeah, yeah. Why? There's too many guys in this room. Let's get a chick on the screen.
That's right. Here she is.
Jeez.
So this is the first piece out of the gate, and what a beauty, man! This thing is awesome. And one thing that I really love, you know, I had the privilege of seeing some of these photos ahead of time, is the paint on the pillar. I'm super impressed with that. I think it looks so cool with the way that turned out. It's so much like the art. So
that pillar was literally one of the hardest things I've ever worked on, and it's just a cylinder. It's like, what the hell? It's like insane. It was like crazy. Yeah.
It's so good. Well, I'll just kind of I'll just kind of scroll through these photos, and I'll let you guys kind of talk about them or whatever you guys want to talk about here.
Yeah.
I mean, another thing too about the piece is that people do hone in on, like Chris said, the pillar, and then they hone in on the dress because, and it's interesting because, you know, generally there's not so much other sort of like, I don't know, accessories that you're like, wow, that is pretty crazy, you know, but I, you know, it's really cool to hear everyone's sort of like what they hone in on and what they're like, what they notice. I think that's really cool. And I that's what I really love about this piece. Like some people are like, wow, the Jaguar is amazing. You know, the Jaguar is so muscular, blah, blah, blah. So it's just that it's just another cool aspect about this piece.
One of the things I like about this piece is it is interesting, like, cause it's also a ballsy piece to put out. Cause you have this massive base.
Yeah,
which takes up most of the statue, but when you look at the focus, because the way the colors play off of each other, like I think I heard you guys talking on like another interview show with the, you know, adjusting the colors on the Jaguar, kind of making it blend in with the base a little bit. Where once you look at the dress on the female, that's what like grabs your attention and kind of moves your eye up, you know, towards the right of the pillar to where, you know, kind of like where she's the focal point. So it's interesting to have like that much base, but then she's still, you know, kind of like the center of attention as far as like the colors go. You know.
Thanks, Eric. And yeah, one thing about that base, see, we tried. It's like, oh, let's make it more narrow, like cheat it in, but then the angle of her dress drops, and you lose that triangle, like the angle of the triangle. That's so like when you, it's almost like part of the likeness of the illustration, right? It's like if you move that in and that drops, it loses that drama. So we couldn't. We're like, screw it, let's just do this giant deluxe one, and then we can drop the bottom base steps and the Jaguar and the pots, and then that could be our standard version. So
how hard was it to match the colors?
It was crazy.
That's what I mean. I see all these beautiful colors, and I'm like, how hard was it to actually match all these perfectly?
Yeah, it was. And what's crazy too, which I appreciate, is Todd and the photographer. Is it Kwang? Todd, is that who it was?
Quang.
Yeah, Quang. They both took different photos so we can get like different lighting, because I feel like when you commit to one light type, it shows the colors a certain way, and I feel like showing it in a few different lights, it gives people more of like a better impression of what the piece really is, if that makes sense. And when painting it, it was really hard because you have like a 2D print off of the picture, which looks one way. Then you have it on your phone, which has brighter colors. Then you're looking on a giant TV screen. So all of them are slightly different. And it's about looking at all those and being like, what pops, what doesn't, what has more like saturation, what sits back, what's a little bit brighter, what's darker. And we started this with Casey Love, and he started painting the base and based out the Jaguar. Then he had some like other priorities come up, and we just were like, hey, we need to keep moving on this. So we went to Heath Hammond of Block 4, who used to be a painter at Sideshow Collectibles. And I love Heath, and I'm glad he loves me because I put him through the ringer on this one. It was like a lot of back and forth, try something out, see what it looks like, drag it outside in the LA heat in the middle of the day. You know, it's just like see a different lighting, because it looks, when you're working on a piece, and anyone here who's an artist knows, like you look at a piece for so long one way, you have to like look at it in a mirror, you have to look at different lighting, you have to take a break, come back out with fresh eyes, because your brain needs to reset on a little bit. So it was a challenge. Like when Todd and I talked about doing this, we never realized how hard this is going to be. We're like, oh yeah, this, not saying it would be easy, but just that pillar, the pillar was the hard part, you know, is easily the hardest part. Getting their skin tone just right, because you want to do, you know, you think about like historical accuracy of like, oh, Egyptians are dark skinned, but then the painting's just light skinned, and like there's forced lighting, but how much lighting do we want to force in the piece? And I'm a fan of not a lot of that, a really subtle shading, if any. I feel like let someone else's lighting display do that for you, but if you don't do any, that looks flat. So yeah, it was like 8 different things we were juggling between color matching, intention of light source, right? And like intention of color, because some things can be in the shadow and you're just like that pillar, you can see how dark it is on the bottom and just to the left. It's like we felt that helped the pillar have more depth and also kind of like make the viewer feel like they're seeing that light source from the painting. So yeah, it was hard. Sorry, long-winded answer. It was really fucking hard. Really dang hard. Really
I think it's awesome though to hear your perspective of how much thought goes into this, because you know there's so many people that keyboard warriors that complain about everything, and it's just like if people only knew what goes into so many of these things, these, you know, again, we call them painted rock, but it's just there's so much that go into it, you know, and it's just really awesome to hear you talk about that, to get some a little bit of the behind the scenes, you know, inspiration for these things. It's just beautiful. A lot of positivity in the comments. I've seen a lot of people say that they can't wait to order this. I did want to talk a little bit just about you kind of brushed by it a little bit about the different sizes. Todd was answering that in the chat. So what was your thinking behind the different size offerings here?
Go, Todd.
Well, we know that the deluxe 1/4 scale is, you know, not everyone can have a 33-inch by 21-inch, you know, piece that's, you know, a 1/4 scale piece in their house. You know, we know that. I personally, I will have this, but right now I don't know where I'm going to put it. You know, I don't. I'll figure it out, but like I just don't know. You know, but
that's what we all say. We all say that.
That's exactly. But I will figure it out. I can put it right next to my computer. Whatever. I'll figure it out. But not everyone can. You know, not everyone's like, dude, I just can't do that. You know what I mean? So we always had. We always knew we were going to offer like different scales or different sizes. So, and we went through a bunch of different versions of like, oh, we'll do a one. I think we're going to do like a 1/6 scale.
That was on the sticker from Monster Palooza last year. We had stickers that 1/4, 1/6. Then we looked at 1/6 to 1/4. It's like, dude, this is like not that much different. It's like I don't think the cost difference wouldn't be that different, you know, so that didn't make sense. So we're like, okay, 1/10, everyone kind of knows 1/10 from Iron Studios, and like 1/10 is like a thing now, right? So let's make a 1/10 that's like, you know, reasonably priced, and then let's make like a standard, like this standard version of 1/4 scale, which
dramatically reduces the base, and it's not. I think we'll talk about the prices later. I think, Dave, or if we're gonna do that, or we will talk about that. But yeah, I mean, the prices. I mean, it's not like $50 less. It's like it's $300 less. So that is, in my opinion, I think that's a pretty drastic difference. And again, you're still getting the queen. So you're getting the queen, you're getting the pillar, and you're getting all that stuff. You're just not getting the Jaguar. You're not getting the pots. So I don't know. It's one of those things. Again, this is our first piece, so we didn't really know, but we just knew we had to offer different versions because of like Eric said earlier, it's the base is massive, right? It's a massive base, but it's still a beautiful looking base,
Yeah, it was last year Monsterpalooza. Last year Monsterpalooza, so 2024. We talked about just the full version, 2 different scales. I think it was that Monsterpalooza. Jeff, you went to Monsterpalooza last year, right, Jeff?
Oh yeah.
It might have been even you who's like, what if you just did like just her and part of the column, or maybe it was someone online. Someone said that, and Todd and I were like, oh yeah, we should do a version where we just remove as much of the base and make sense as possible. But we're also thinking of amortizing costs for if we're gonna make this pillar work the way it is. If we cut the pillar down anymore, then we have to the production cost would go up because it's 2 different kinds of the pillar. So that's why we let's keep the whole pillar, the whole mid section of the base. And let's just drop the bottom base part, the Jaguar, the pots, and also how can we make the deluxe feel a bit more deluxe? And that's where the art print came in with that, not just a small thing, making it 18 by 24 high quality print is going to be we think the extra little cherry on the top. So,
well, I think it's so important to offer collectors choices these days. I mean, not only like Todd was mentioning, just the space of accommodating some of these things, but giving collectors the choice, I think it's awesome. And, it really does. I mean, not only just from your pocketbook, your wallet, but space and everything else in between. Shipping always is a factor, with consideration these days too. And so I applaud you guys for offering, different options like this. I think they all look amazing.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
I think it was about halfway through this project, we're like, why'd we do this? And Frankie's like, yeah, this is one of the hardest pieces to do. Why'd you choose this?
Yeah.
I'm like, you agreed to this too, jerk.
It's just going to be so much easier now. The next piece you'll be like, oh, this is a breeze because you did.
Well, that's what we thought too, but it's still, they're all hard. Because in the beginning, Dave was like, I don't want to work on likeness. I don't ever want to work on likeness. I forgot what piece you were referring to, but I think maybe it was a Michelle Pfeiffer, whatever, Catwoman, Tweeterhead. And then later he's like, dude, this is likeness. You're still dealing with it. There is a likeness for all these things. When you're not creating something from scratch, there's a reference. There's still a likeness. You know what I mean? So.
Yeah. And not only that, we were talking about this recently, how it's harder because at least with Michelle Pfeiffer, Catwoman, let's say, you have the whole movie and multiple images behind the scenes. You have she's a real person. This is a painting. And it has to look just like it, but also work in 3D. And so, with Frankie's been great. I just messaged him dude, can you send me anything that feels remotely like Egyptian Queen's face from any of your grandfather's studies or other paintings that are side profile? So he sent me a bunch of female reference. The Jaguar, same thing. He sent me a bunch of big cat, the way his grandfather painted them. And that was super helpful. But when you have just one angle, it's you have to really work with some of the best artists to really not even it's not a one-to-one translation. It's interpreting what's there because you make it look exactly like it. The warrior guy, he has to be really far in the background, or he has to have his legs cut off of the knees to match the height of where he is in the painting to her. So it's there's things you just have to cheat, to make it work. So,
Dave, you've probably mentioned. I mean, you've worked on hundreds of projects. How cool is it to be able to go directly to the source to get that information? I think it's so awesome.
I've been pretty fortunate over my years. I have really good relationships with most of the licensors. A couple not so much, but Frankie's been great because I literally just text him if I'm somewhere and he answers within. Not saying he's always just on my beckoning call, but he's just constant and collaborative and supportive, and he's given us good feedback too. He has a great eye for a lot of stuff, and some stuff he's like, "Oh, what about this?" I'm like, "Oh, this is why we did this." He's like, "Oh no, that makes sense. Cool. Keep going, sir." I'm like, "Thank you, sir." And he's great. He's easily one of the best, if not the best, licensors I've worked with. So, yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks, Sizzle. Nice.
Yeah. Look how good this base looks. There's so much detail on it, and I love all the textures. Love the divots in the rock work. It's just little things like that. It really brings the whole thing together.
I love how the fabric lays across the steps.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the fabric was a combination of like I don't know if you guys like watch other sculptors talk about their process, but Marvelous Designer is kind of like a fabric automation thing. It was part that then mostly sculpted. It's kind of like, oh, let's just get a starting point. Like, oh, that doesn't look cool, and you have to match the painting too. Like we looked at the way it laid on like certain folds. We want to make sure those are there and make sure it looked good in 3D as well. But yeah, so much about this piece. Like we look at the painting, you don't see the tops of the steps at all. You see like the front. So we're really happy to like show off like the work that went into this thing, and it was a lot of work even from a top down view. How to make like the radial, like not spiral, but like of each step kind of like go out and have a flow and make sense. It wasn't just like a bunch of random, extrusions or whatever. So
I would imagine it was a challenge to get her dressed to hug the stairs like that. I'm assuming she's a separate piece when she keys in, right?
She is right now. I'm sure the factory will probably keep her separate. I'm sure the head will probably be separate because in case like, there's something wrong with the eye, we can just replace the head instead of like replacing a whole body, But right now, yeah, she is separate from it. And I'm 90% sure the factory will probably keep her separate. So
did you guys use like maybe like a different material, say for the dress? This way it kind of has a little bit of a flex to it, just in case. This way you can like.
No, man. It was if the only issue we had with fitting was where her feet are, like that platform in the 3D print sagged. So she was floating, and Heath, the painter, his business partner, Roger, took the base, cut it from the bottom, just punched it out and filled it, and then, sealed it. I'm like, you're awesome. So,
are you asking if we're going to do that like in production? If it's going to be made of a different material?
Well, yeah, I was just curious because I know sometimes when you try to get things to fit tight like that, especially, it's going down the stairs like that.
Yeah, I mean, for the production, it might be some sort of like more malleable material than like polystone.
Yeah,
most likely. We don't know exactly yet, but yeah.
So this shot here just shows kind of like how we take the painting, and I do just a quick Photoshop of like removing elements. You can see like we moved the Jaguar up, so it's not as far down. We removed steps, so it wouldn't be insanely, because every step you add, the wider it gets too. So like, all right, how do we make this work?
Framed it in.
Yeah. I was like, oh, maybe the column will have this cool cut this way, and it looked stupid in 3D. So we just made it like a clean straight cut. It looks so dumb. I'm like, let's try it. So I always start with Todd and Frankie. We look at a bunch of paintings. We make some selects. Todd and I do, and I just do some real quick Photoshop edits like this, just to be like, what would be the statue, right, of this thing, and as a starting point. So I think the next slide shows like the first block in Maka. Oh, there's another one out if I haven't made it. But this is one where it really started to feel like it was coming together. Like the breasts are really, they're like volumetric, but they have some sag and some weight to them. So like, how do you make that work without making them feel like they're, big fake implants? She has great like weight to her curves without feeling like, crazy. So it's like, this is one of my favorite early work in progress shots where it feels like the thing was really coming. Like I could see the finish line, if that makes sense.
It's awesome. Yeah, I love the ZBrush renders, just to be able to see, how it all comes together. It just looks fantastic.
Yeah, and the likeness was hard. So it's like that's one of the stages that was kind of cool, because like she has this look to her, and then on the right it was kind of like this. Does she feel sad? Does she look concerned? What are we going for? I think at that point, I might have hit up Frankie, be like, we gotta talk. What is she doing? Like, what is she? What's the intention? Is she like scared? Is she this or what? So it was cool just getting to a point, assuming one thing, and then you might learn something about the piece, talking to like, Frankie, and how he said his like one thing that was kind of fun was how much he based so many of his females off of his grandmother, like Frank's wife, and I didn't really, it makes sense, but I didn't really know how much he did or didn't do that. So that was cool.
That's cool. A couple quick questions. The people are asking, did you think about putting the soldier in the background, or would that have made this too crazy deep?
Yeah, too crazy deep, too expensive, because it's another figure. It's like and also when we removed the step and moved the Jaguar up, if we made him actually work, I think as a 18, like as a quarter scale dude, because we made her like a 5 foot tall female. We made her like a short quarter scale female. If we put him in there, he would tower and then I think take away from her compositionally. So we didn't want him to become like the focal point.
Makes perfect sense to me. And Sizzle Knight asked a little bit earlier, when are you expecting it to ship? I don't know if you have any idea. I mean, I know it's not even up for pre-order quite yet, but I would assume.
Yeah, the pre-order is on Tuesday. It's going to be, I would say, Q2 of 2026.
Yeah, I think that's fair. That's fair. And
Hey,
you mentioned
the earliest Q2 because we have the prototype here and we need to send it to the factory, and we're going to do that like in August so they can really start working with it, because we wanted it here for getting things ready, shoot some more photos, shoot some more video, some promo stuff, because when we sent it to the factory, it's like it's there through production. So
Sizzle's Knight's asking, I think she actually had 2 different face portraits.
Yeah,
just one portrait or 2?
No, there's one portrait. This is the final. No, I don't know. This is not. That's shown on this. Is it?
Yeah, it is. That's the final. We had one shown at Monsterpalooza last year.
Yeah.
We did bits to it, then we painted it. We did more edits. So there's like 2 versions that we showed, like one unpainted, then the painted, and the painted one is the final sculpt. So no swap outs though. There's no like alternate.
No swap outs.
Yeah. That's my wife. She's short, and that's just like when we got the 3D printed from the factory. It was crazy.
It really does go to show you how big it is. It's amazing. It's awesome.
Yeah, my wife's only 5'1", so she's not exactly the best. It's not like the Sideshow Apple where it's like kind of consistent. It's like she's a foot taller. She 4'5". It's like she's 5'1". So if that helps anyone with the perspective, it's still crazy.
But it's definitely a centerpiece piece. We always joke about the big pieces being dining room table pieces, and this is like something that could be in the center of your collection and be a focal point, with all eyes kind of coming into this thing, just because it does have such a great presence to it. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I think that's literally bigger than my kitchen nook table. That's what that. So when you joked about dining room table, I'm like, yeah, it's my kitchen table. It's bigger. It's wider than it's crazy. It's like what?
What's crazy is you could still see her from every angle. Like this piece looks good from every angle. Like even whether you're on the left side or on the right side, you can kind of still see the entire figure of her.
Thanks, man.
With that giant, there's a big giant column. You think maybe she would get hidden, but no, you can still see her.
Which that goes back to you saying that the soldier would have distracted, and I agree 100%. Obviously, you want her to be the focal point. I mean, and just composition wise, at the angle, everything's pointing back to her in the column. So it's like, your eye just goes there. So I think that was a really smart decision for you guys to just focus on her.
Yeah, it'd feel like a photo bomber if he was there. Like, hey, me too.
Yeah.
Here,
Yeah.
Now, how difficult was it to get the definition and muscle in the Jaguar correct?
Oh, dude, it was insane. It was it was just like Mark Newman, who is amazing. He did a pass at it and it looked good, but something about him, like, we worked with someone else and pushed it further than, it was just like, because even when you look at like real cats in real life, like they're pretty narrow, like they're not big and wide animals. And so, and then the pose of it in the painting is slightly different. And like, he has got this big belly. So there's like things are kind of cheated with it. And he has this great graphic, like, flow from his back up to his shoulder and his head, and getting all that just right was like really, really, really difficult. But and even like sculpting fur, it's like, do you over sculpt it? Do you under sculpt it? So we didn't want to look like a noisy mess of just like sculpted fur. So we kind of biased towards like less is more. There's still great fur definition. Just from a distance, you don't really see it. We wanted the musculature to really show.
I mean, that's the first thing I noticed in the statue was, I mean, it looks incredible. The portrait on it. I mean, how many renders did it take to get the portrait just right for him or her?
The cat or the queen?
The Jaguar.
Oh, the cat. Yeah, I don't know if it's a girl cat or a boy cat. I forgot. We should check. Todd, go look at
They're they, them. They're they, them. They, them. Jaguar, it's fine. And I love them. I love it.
Yeah, it was hard. It was a bit easier than her, and it's a bit more forgiving because it's like you just in the painting you see the back of it. So like as long as it has this cool graphic shape and it looks like a giant cat, which thank God there's tons of reference of real giant cats out there. And Frankie provided like, I think at least 8 other pieces of reference of his grandfather's work of giant cats. It helped a lot. But yeah, the female was sculpt wise, she was the hardest. We changed her proportions once too, which we had to change then the steps, like the depth of the steps to accommodate that. So it became a ripple effect. One thing, 8 things have to change. So she was the hardest part. The cat, if we had to change, it's like just change the cat. If we changed her, it's like now the base changes. Oh, you made her head longer. Now her body looks shorter. Oh, length of the body. Oh, now she's sitting too high up on the column. Got to make the column longer. It's like, oh my God. It was fun.
I'm so impressed with this shot because you could really see the fabric. I mean, obviously it looks amazing painted, but I always like the raw sculpt sometimes because you could really see the detail even more sometimes, and it's really impressive here.
Yeah, that was our first shot we work with a 3D printer in South Korea, and they have a huge print bed that's high resolution. Like they printed the life-size Skeletor, but they print all this stuff for Tweeterhead, and they did our life-size bust Skeletor, and they had such a giant print bed, they're able to print under his pecs. We had to key it, those pecs atop of neck and width of the shoulders, which is like insane big. So they printed this as like one piece. And when they sent me this photo, I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. It's crazy.
Well, I would imagine it started to become real at that point too. Like, it's like, you design so often and then, it becomes real. All right. You mentioned paint, man. This is so cool to see this. I love this. Tell us a little bit about the paint.
This is the closest to throwing myself off a building I've felt in a long time. Heath, the painter, he started by just trying to like match the lines, and he tried 2 or 3 versions. I kept getting feedback, and then on the second to third try, I think that's when he took the painting, blew it up, and cut them out like puzzle pieces, like states, like from geography, and then puzzling them back together on the piece. I'm like, dude, just let me handle it. So I took the painting in ZBrush and projected on the 3D geometry and did a UV unwrap, which is kind of like, think of like taking a globe, right? Of like, Earth, and then you flatten it out. Like you take it and cut it and then you just like smash it down. That's what that picture is on the right, is a UV unwrap of the painting projected onto the pillar. So it shows kind of like how much information we had and how much we had to figure out. And then I had to kind of like take that, move it around and make it like a clean flat line and size it to the actual 3D print of the pillar. And then we printed out, we didn't do a decal, but we printed out 1-to-1. And then he had something he could literally trace onto the pillar to make it match. Pretty much it's done 100,000%, like it never can be, but it's like 98% there. And I couldn't be happier with like doing that. But that was like a 4-hour process for me on a Friday. I didn't know I was going to need to do. I just went over to review it. And then it's like, we're not getting this. I open up my laptop, start working on it, go home, keep working on it. Had to relearn how to UV unwrap in ZBrush. I hadn't done that in forever. It was like 4 hours. I was like, dude, my Friday's gone. But
well, it's all going to pay off, all that work.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see.
Some more painting here. We can see some different areas of the dress and the base. Looks fantastic.
Thanks, man. You can't love on Heath enough. He just rocked it. So
some more paint.
That's stunning.
Yeah, the paint's perfect.
Yeah, that was right before Monsterpalooza, and that's before we adjusted the eye makeup. So you can see how she has, like, the left shot, the eye makeup, like the eyeliner doesn't go back as far. Like we have this shot. I think someone even mentioned at the show, like, oh, it'd be cool if you exaggerated the makeup a little more to match the painting a little bit better. So Todd and I looked at it. Todd's friend Brian did some Photoshop options, and we even referenced the Cleopatra movie. We're like, oh yeah, we could push this way more. So we did that. Went back to Heath. Heath updated it. There's the stuff. And that left picture was when the column started to feel like it was finally coming together. I was really picky about like the color, the brightness, the blot. It has like a blotchiness to it too. Want to make sure that was in there. So yeah, paint, one of the hardest painted pieces I've ever worked on. It was insane. It was insane.
So cool. I love all the references too. Like it's just really neat to, again, the behind the scenes. We love that here on this show. We love to, we love the art, but we love the process also, and it's just really cool. Thank you for sharing this stuff with us.
Yeah, and thanks for letting us be on here and talk about it, because there's Heath, that guy. That's they did a Photoshop of a picture of the piece and put it on, because the original painting was for Eerie magazine, so they did that for Heath for his coworkers at his shop. Did that for his birthday. So that's Heath there. So if you ever see him at Comic-Con or Monstapalooza walking around, slap him in the back of the head and tell him he's an idiot. All right.
So is he traditionally sculpt and digitally, or just both, or what would?
He can sculpt. He's mainly a painter. Like he's a maker. He like does war reenactments. He can he's like a MacGyver of things. He looks the same age. I've known him for almost 15, 18 years now. He looks exactly the same. He doesn't age. I think he's like 80 years old or something, but he looks he does everything. He's like a war history buff. He made miniatures for tabletop games. So he can sculpt. I just don't think he would call himself like a sculptor, but his main thing is paint and fabric. He can do some fabric elements and hair and stuff, but paint is like his main thing. So
that's awesome. Looks so good. Some more outdoor shots. I think there's Todd there taking a photo.
That was some photo inception. That was me taking a photo of Todd, taking a photo of paint, so.
Yeah,
it looks awesome outside.
I was going to say
bringing her outside was wow.
She just pops so much.
The base is, but the base literally looks like old, dusty, dirty concrete. Like when you see it up close.
Thanks, man. Yeah, this was right before Monster. I think I brought this down to Todd after the paint was finished. This was before we did the eye makeup edits, but I brought it down to him, and we were getting ready to pack up for Monstapalooza. And I think it was 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. and the sun just was starting to set. And we looked outside. We're talking about we need to take photos, actually show Frankie final paint, final-ish paint, to get some sort of approval or thumbs up or high five. And we looked outside let's roll this outside. So we just quickly roll it outside. And it couldn't have been better. Lighting. The day was, at that moment, we had 1 hour of perfect overcast lighting. And I just don't think you can have a better representation of her than these photos, actually. So,
Frankie, what did you think when you saw these photos?
Like they said, I feel like we all forgot about this is the first time I saw her anywhere painted at all, and it was just a shock of holy crap, we went from nothing to complete, and it was unbelievable. I showed my dad some photos actually 2 days ago. I was telling Dave and Todd, and but I was oh, that's digitally rendered or whatever. It's a good rendering. I was no, that's the actual paint. And he's no, but seriously, how that's obviously a rendering. And he was unbelievable. It was crazy. He was so shocked that this was the actual paint, and he gave nothing but the highest regards, and was whoever painted that is an absolute genius. Because again, even when we were talking about it, again, there were talks of why did we choose this piece first, because it was a big one to tackle. There were a lot of talks of that actually, but the paint was the thing I was most worried about, because that pillar is so important to the piece. It's crazy to think that in a Frazetta piece, a pillar overshadows the woman that's next to the pillar, but it truly does. And again, it was everything they came out with. I stopped every time they would send something for approval. I usually am very, very picky, and I would look through everything with a fine-tooth comb. I started to get so relaxed with their stuff that I was yeah, you guys are good, and just kept going. And I became so excited for the next process, or the new shots or anything, or any progress photos, because I was just I love this piece. I want to have this piece. So it's just kind of fun for me to see it. But yeah, I had the whole time, I don't think I asked you guys to really change anything. Honestly,
you had a couple small notes, but nothing insane at all. Yeah.
So do you have any oh, sorry, we done?
No, go ahead.
I was curious if you had any test prints of the 1/10 scale that you took pictures of, or did you not print that yet?
We did. We had it at the show, and I think there's one photo of us holding the 3D print of the head. In the stuff I gave you, Chris, I'm not sure if it made it to this, but yeah, we had the 1/10 scale. That was actually a last second decision by me and Todd too, because we didn't go with the company in South Korea to take too long to print, get shipped here and whatever. But Heath and Block 4 have printers. I'm like, dude, can you guys print 1/10 scale versions of this, Dawn's Early Light, and then a 3rd scale version of the Death Dealer buff? So we could just, because we knew we wanted to do them, but then we can, instead of just having like an image graphic there, it's like, oh, here's a giant core skull, then here's a picture that says we'll do a smaller one. We thought having a 3D printed of it there would be awesome. So they did it. They crushed it. And it looks great in the factory. We're working with one of the best factories. So as soon as we didn't actually alter anything going from 1/4 to 10 scale. And as some of you guys know, you have to kind of exaggerate things sometimes as you go smaller, so it reads. So we're not 100,000%. We haven't done that process yet to make sure the test print with the factory and paint to see how everything holds up. Our intent is to make it match as close as humanly possible to 1/4 scale, but obviously some things will need to be, because it goes smaller. You can't have every tiny little detail we had in there. It would be in terms of some of the subtleties and the some of the portrait stuff, but I think we'll get it 99% close to it. So yeah.
All right.
Todd just sent me a photo. I'll try to pull it up too of the 10th scale.
Just
I'm curious to see the size. Curious to see the size comparison.
Yeah, I sent a picture from Monster Palooza to Chris just now. So yeah, just show if you want to show whatever, just so you can see it.
Let's see. Let me see if it'll go over this.
There you go. There it is.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yeah. So
there's Mark, and that's Aaron. They were both Mark sculpted most of it. Aaron helped at the end with some portrait edits, and Aaron worked on Dawn's Early Light. But 2 studs right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, looks
So
good.
awesome. So awesome. This is an awesome setup, Todd. When's this thing going to be done? I can't wait.
And I don't know, man. At the end of the year, I'll just say. Yeah, the end of the year. End of the year.
It's looking amazing. What a project.
Yeah, it's a lot. That's all I'll say. It's a lot. There's a lot to do. But it's almost there.
I thought mine was hard. I can't even imagine your setup.
It's almost there. Seriously, it's almost there.
It's awesome.
Jeff's been there.
Yeah, that was the original Photoshop of the digital render. Where we were trying to do we keep pots? And we just were like, nah, let's just.
We took the pots away.
Yeah.
Except we have that one broken pot, which is
we had the one broken pot.
That's the best pot. That's my favorite pot. that pot is cool.
There it is.
Yeah, that's a cool ass pot.
There it is. Looks absolutely amazing.
Thanks, man.
Really cool. And again, you got the two different deluxe versions and the regular, and then of course the 1/10 scale. And again, guys, if you are interested in getting this, it is going to be up for pre-order Tuesday at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time at speculativeffictioncollectibles.com. And so if you guys want to get your first dibs at this thing, Tuesday's your day. This is awesome.
And we're doing a special discount through July for pre-orders. So if you pre-order during we're calling it Comic-Con thing, but it's a little bit after that too. But through July 31st, we're going to offer a discount. We'll have more information about that soon. But yeah,
it's awesome. All right.
So is that correct? Is it 3 p.m. Pacific time or 3 p.m. Eastern time? Because previously we had noon Pacific.
Yeah, it's 12 p.m. Pacific time.
There you go.
That's my bad. All right, Chris, I gave you wrong information.
That's okay.
It changes. Yeah.
3 p.m. Eastern time. Yeah.
If we sold out in 3 hours, I'd be happy. If someone missed, I missed it, you gave me the wrong time. Oh, dude, let's party.
All right. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to update that little graphic. And then I'm going to put it back up again. We're going to rewind and pretend like it never happened. And we're going to go, hey, look, it's up for pre-order 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's collectibles.com.
Yeah. I'm literally editing the Instagram post right now. And done. All right. Great. Cool.
Well, it's a good thing we had this little meeting here.
Yeah, it's all good. We got it. We figured it out.
All right. Well,
right before this call, Chris, I was messaging Frank. I'm like, did I tell you 5 or 5:30? Because it's 5.
Oh, I love it. Well, first of all, I have to give Dave credit for editing these photos for me, since we try to keep it a little bit family friendly. But kids, it's time to put the kids to bed, because we're going to look at some really cool second sculptures here and tell us a little bit about this guy, or this lady, excuse me.
Nice.
Yes, this is us just trying to do the opposite of Egyptian queen where it's a little bit more like no column, no cat. We're like, all right, no animal,
No
one figure, like a little bit like no nothing crazy, no crazy paint patterns or anything like that. And yeah, this has always been one of my favorite paintings of Frank's. And we asked Frankie, because there are some things we have access to and some things we don't have access to because Frankie has rights a certain one, and this one fell underneath them. We're super excited about it. And yeah, just worked with Aaron Beinart, the amazing sculptor. He's done a bunch of stuff for ARH and Level 52, so he's very familiar with the Frazetta stuff. And this is a unique one too because it's so, to me, it feels a little bit more stylized than some of his other stuff. Like I was telling Frankie, like the portrait, we pulled up all that reference of Marilyn Monroe because I'm like, it feels like this, but feels like someone painted that, but Jessica Rabbit or Bruce Timm version of that. There's like a little bit more like it feels like slightly more stylized in her face, but which made it unique. That's the problem we're having on this one is getting the faces right. But thank God there's not like, oh, if we change this, then we have to change the pillar height, change this, then that, and then whatever. So it's a little bit easier. But it was such a fun piece. It feels like a really, we're glad we have a licensor we can work with that allows us to do females in a sexy way because a lot of places don't, let alone do full nudes. And this was, I was hoping would be like a gateway drug for people that might not accept this as art and show them it can be beautiful and innocent and playful all at the same time without it being like, oh, it's porn, because it's like, dude, we're born this way. And it's such a fun, innocent piece. I don't know. It's just like, those are always like the words that come to my mind. And Frankie was super cool with letting us make this piece. So.
Yeah, I feel like, Todd, you brought up the other day that piece Teaser. My grandfather always liked to do watercolors, and when he did watercolors, they were very whimsy, very fun, very light, and like they always had a way to make you smile or just make you feel good. Versus his oils, which obviously were very like big, intimidating, heavy pieces. So it was really like interesting dichotomy to see between these and the oils. So when they brought up wanting to hit one of the watercolors, I was obviously 100% for it. Growing up, I saw him do watercolors mainly. He didn't paint much in front of us, but when he did, it was always like doodles or watercolors, and that was always his favorite medium. He was a very like happy, fun guy, so I feel like the oils didn't really fit his personality well, but the watercolors certainly did. So yeah, when they chose this one, I was like, yeah, absolutely, please go for that one. And really, I feel like anything you guys would say you want to do, I'm cool with, just because like it's fun for me to finally see these things be done in a different way or a piece that really doesn't see the limelight much to get that like time, 15 minutes of fame at least. So it's really cool. And again, this piece has always been one of my favorites as well. So yeah, 100% excited to see this one.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those pieces like, Egyptian Queen, like you said, it is very like, it has a certain, essence to it. And then this one is just, we wanted to do something next that was just a little more, lighthearted, I guess, in a sense. But yeah, the teaser, like you mentioned, it had that feeling, and I actually own that piece. I love that piece. I think it's just really cool. And that's really interesting that you only saw him really mainly paint oil color, or not oil, sorry, the watercolors. That's really interesting that you say that. But I don't know, it's because I mean, when I'm looking at a Frazetta, I'm not like, oh, that's a watercolor, that's an oil. Obviously, I know that the difference is, but it's just like it's just interesting that he can do such an amazing piece in both mediums, and they're perfect in their own way. But it's just interesting to see the watercolor, like being a more lighthearted piece, and just tackling this one was just something where I was just like, yeah, let's just do something a little more lighthearted. And we also were like, oh yeah, this is going to be easier to do too. But it's not easier. It's also hard, and it's also really difficult to get the likeness again. But
I would say it's easier. It's not easy though.
Yeah. That's what I'll say. Yeah, fair.
So when I saw this at Monster Palooza, yes, it's more whimsical, but it still has a big impact because that portrait, I don't think I've ever seen a portrait that expressed joy better. And I had never seen the painting before the show, but I looked it up when I got home. And I thought that portrait is just there's something about it. It's just, it's titled Dawn's Early Light. So you just imagine her waking up and just having this expression of joy about the coming day. And I don't know, I might be in on this one. I think it's really cool.
It's definitely not a Dawn's Early Light on Monday. It's like Dawn's Early Light on a Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There
I
you
would
go.
say Sunday.
Somebody was asking about, is there any option for a third scale, or are you going to do quarter scale and tenth?
I wouldn't say third scale on that first one.
I don't think so. I think we're just gonna do quarter scale for now, like quarter scale that and 10th. We were even talking like, is this deluxe? Like we talked about, we're editing the face, we're editing the base bottom too. Those are two things we're still working out in Sculpt. But we're talking about like how can we do like a standard version of this one? Would it just there you can see the 10th scale Egyptian queen next to quarter scale.
Perfect. Yes, yeah, perfect.
Big difference.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So we're still talking about that. We have time because we want this piece to come out before the end of the year, but give us enough space between Egyptian Queen pre-order and this one. So there's, we don't want it to be like within weeks of each other. We're actually, we have the first look tonight. There we go. The
boom. There we go.
The boom.
Yeah, so we're pretty much done with the paint on her minus the portrait because we reworked the portrait. So we're gonna repaint that in the base bottom. Then she's kind of like locked and loaded and good to go. So we're gonna, obviously we're gonna like look at her again with fresh eyes. There might be things we see like with the red fabric. Like we went back and forth on the red fabric a little bit because it's like you don't want to go too dark red because it like really weighs. It has to have this like bright feeling to it. And this isn't the best lighting. It was like in the studio, kind of I just shot it yesterday before for this show. But we're really happy with how it's coming out. And yeah, I couldn't be happier that we had one that went like quite a bit faster, quite a bit smoother. Like Todd said, it's not easy, but it's easier. which we all, Heath, the painter, definitely needed an easier one because that column again was like like painting line into one. So,
but
I love the.
I was gonna say I love the base on this one. Like when you guys showed me the quick render, I was like, this is gonna look so sick. How you guys made it up, and the cape as well is insane. Like the red is so perfect in my opinion. It's such like a fun. I don't know. Again, it just all the colors chosen were so good at making this feel like fun and whimsy in the way it should.
And it's the flow. The flow. I mean, it just has such a nice flow to it. The eye. I love the art direction. It's fantastic.
Thanks.
And again, it's just right from the painting. It looks absolutely fantastic.
This would be a good custom to turn into a cloak and dagger, right? Just paint it darker and.
I can maybe make this a Supergirl if you need a Supergirl in your collection. Maybe I don't know.
There you go.
Yeah,
That's a good idea. Just need the S insignia on the cape.
That's right. That's the bonus version.
I did get a little bit of a Power Girl vibe at first when I like the split first second I saw it. I was like, Power Girl?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm excited to see what you guys are going to do in regards to customizing it. No, but the base will have like a lake mirror effect. It won't be just black gloss. Okay. So that will be a little different. Just letting you know.
Be awesome.
He's so happy because this is so much easier than Egyptian Queen. He's like, thank you.
Yeah.
For not putting me through that again. Yeah.
No, it sure looks great. Oh, then we got let's see. What's this? This is third piece, right? Yeah.
This is our life-size Death Dealer bust that we're also going to offer in third scale. But this is one where it was supposed to. We got it. Franco Carlissimo, amazing sculptor, artist. He banged this out for us in like record timing, like with my weird nitpicky feedback back and forth, and work with Frankie on all these elements. But we had it 3D printed, ready to go to get shipped to us from South Korea. Got lost in the mail. Didn't show up till 2 weeks after Monsterpalooza, so he couldn't make it. The third scale made it, but yeah, this is basically like the first piece Frankie and I talked about was like doing a life-size Death Dealer bust. So
this is the one I wanted. I didn't care if we didn't do anything else. I wanted the life-size. That's all that mattered to me.
Well, he's gonna look great next to your Skeletor I see back there.
So,
yeah,
so
thanks to Dave for sending that to me.
What's the options here? I see a whole bunch of different options on the bottom. So
Yeah,
is
this is a
That's-
initial design exploration. So I did like a rough ZBrush mock-up. I used some elements with Chad's permission, some Tweeterhead stuff. I used my Skeletor life-size bust body and base just as like placeholders. And then I quickly mocked up like a helmet design and a shoulder pad and some of the other elements. The arm is from the He-Man and Battle Cat. I put that on there just to, mock up placeholder. That I made a quick axe. And I did it in neutral pose. Like, so on the bottom, you can see like there's all these different versions. I did neutral pose and matched Skeletor first. And then Todd was like, oh, it'd be cool if it matched the painting of him on the horse with his turn and the axe. So that's when I added the axe arm, did the turn. And then we just want to look at different options. We're not making all these. We just did it for ourselves on like cost. That's why we had the Captain America. I think it was Queen. Was that Queen Studios that did that Captain America life-size bust?
Yes.
Yeah, we did. That's like super deluxe. We did the Sideshow Skeletor or Tweeterhead Skeletor. And then I did one that was way more trimmed down, like old school Sideshow life-size bust. Like I still have my life-size Venom bust, the first one they made, where it's like as little torso as possible, mostly head. And then we landed on like, no, let's go for the painting. Let's go for the one arm, the turn. So we worked with my buddy Cameron Scott Davis on some design elements for what the base could be. And he did that, like he did some rough designs. He did a Photoshop when we kind of like honed in on one for the ZBrush. He did a little cool like hand because that appears like a bunch of Frazetta art. But Todd and I talked about like that just feels like someone's gonna pick up this one-to-one bust and just like break that off and say it came broken, and then that'd be a replacement issue. So we nixed that and just kept it to the base to be like a bunch of like Frazetta gunk, mud, and bone and skulls and parts and gore, like the Frazetta way, not like anything gross. But yeah, this is all the various paintings of Death Dealer 2 like look different. It's like you can like never once look the same way. So I focus more on like what I call the classic one, where he has like the bare arm and the helmet without like a mouth vent.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was really cool because he really wanted the chainmail covered arm, but he let me have my way on this one with like the bare arm. Thank you, Frankie, for that. And
there was a trade though. I said if you do bare skin, I choose the skin tone.
Yeah,
that was it.
He's
I
like,
said, that's the only way we're doing it. So we agreed on that. So yeah,
and he threatened to be a real jerk about it. I'm like, all right.
I did. I said,
Yeah.
if there's gonna be one thing I fight you on, it will be that skin tone, and I will not approve of anything until it's like exactly how I want it. So anything else I don't care about, but that skin tone is so important to me.
So these show kind of like I took a bunch of different elements of like different sculptures that have been done that Frankie sent me reference of different parts of different paintings, try to find like common language throughout all of them. So there wasn't like, here's the one we're following. And so Franco would start like a really rough sculpt, and I gave him like a ton of Photoshop notes. Because Franco's great. It's just like, what do I see as the art director? What do I see in like all these paintings? And Franco and I had like a bunch of different discussions about it. He's a champ, great collaborator. Showed a couple things to Frankie throughout the process too, just to make sure I wasn't like shoving Franco down a path that was incorrect, So we just try to find like common elements because we wanted this thing to feel like Death Dealer. Like I didn't have to explain it to anyone,
I love, you mentioned the tilt or the twist. Like it just makes it for me. I love the way you did that. That looks fantastic.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I think we turned his head slightly more to the left from that work in progress of sculpt. Because when we looked at it, we're like, oh, it's a life-size bust that's turned so much. I think we turned his head back. Not a ton, but just like a couple inches. So it'd be a little bit more. So you think of like a 1-to-1 bust, now deep the shoulders would be. We didn't want it to be like, dude, no one can display this. We turned it like a tiny, tiny, tiny bit.
Cool.
Now, did y'all decide to keep the shield off, or is that something that you're still working on, or no?
Franco really wanted to do the forward arm with the shield, and I'm like, no. So Todd had talked about it though, like for real, and we're just like, this is just gonna be a whole nother giant piece, and it's just gonna block so much of him.
Yeah,
we just felt like he just didn't, and he doesn't use it all the time. We thought the shield would be better, like one day when we do a statue, like that's where we can really capitalize on the shield.
Yeah.
So yeah, the statue is where it'd be awesome on the horse. That'd be cool.
Right. 1-1 scale, yeah, it just blocks it too much,
So cool.
We're actually, I think the only these renders that Franco did was when it felt like I could start to see it, because I never worked with Franco before. I'm familiar with Franco's work. I've met him a bunch. He came to Monsterpalooza years ago. We immediately became best friends because he's just that person. He's like just a joy and loud and fun and magnetic. You're just like, you just want to be around the guy. So getting to work with him was a real treat. But there's always like this thing in the back of my head of like, oh, I hope it works out. And when he sent me these renders, I was like, oh, I can see where this is. You could see light at the end of the tunnel. If that makes sense, you know?
And he's such a phenomenal sculptor. Like, you know, everything he touches has been really, really high quality stuff. So
yeah.
In Franco, we trust.
He's awesome. So there you can see the head turned a little bit more. So that's like straight on, like you see his body was turned, so we can see a little more front of it.
I mean, the left is like the ideal way to, you know, display.
Kind of like the right.
Optimal viewing angle is what we say.
You can do it
For me, it's the right. I never like my statues looking at me. I always like my statues looking off to the side. So for me, it's the right.
There's a joke in there, Eric. I'll save it for later. I'm kidding. I'm like, look at anyone in the eyes. And that was me sizing it next to like the He-Man Skeletor bust. Just, you know, those are the ones I've worked on recently, and just I had the most information data on. And I'm like, if this matches those size-wise, proportion-wise, I think we're in a good spot. So some rough sizes of the 3D prints, and
that's great that you have the size of the base and everything. So there's a lot of people that ask that question: what's the size of the base, so I can fit it on my, you know, my table?
Actually, yeah, we should probably include that for this one. I didn't even think of that. I just did it for I forgot why.
Yeah, that's super important right there. That bottom of that base right there.
Writing that down. Keep that in the solicitation info. Cool.
It is interesting with different pieces because, you know, you think of width, but sometimes it's not. You know, if it's high up top, but it's low down, it's, you know, narrow down below. So, you know, you can accommodate it sometimes. So I think that'd be nice if we had that more consistent, you know, throughout the industry, where it's like, you know, like what's the base measurement? Because that might make a big difference if somebody's willing to buy it or not.
Oh, absolutely.
I agree. I agree too much with you on that, because I get that question a lot just about other statues or something that we're selling, and I don't know, because people want to know, does it fit in a Vesta? Does it fit in a Detol? Does it fit on my, you know, my table, whatever? So I think it's very important, because you could have this on a, you know, 14 by 14 pedestal and it would hang over, but you know it fits on that pedestal, you know, because
exactly.
because of this. So
yeah, going back to the Egyptian queen, I was thinking of that when we saw it outside on Todd's pedestal. I was like, oh, it absolutely fits perfect on Todd's pedestal. So if anybody ever needs to know the measurement, just go look at Todd's pedestal, and it fits perfectly.
Yeah, at least with Egyptian queen, like the widest part is the base, so like the measurement is like the measure of the base. But yeah, this one, and even Dawn's Early Light would be the same as this, where it's like the base is smaller than the footprint of the whole piece. So this is totally my intention, guys. I'm glad you all picked up on it. Just like Todd, one thing I give Todd huge props for is like in our Egyptian queen gallery, he's like, we gotta shoot it top down and show the three versions top down.
Yeah, I never seen that.
We're really revolutionizing the collector industry.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah. Oh, you really are. This is really cool to see from below and from above. That's perfect.
It really, I mean, it does help. It really does.
We'll get a glass table and we'll shoot from underneath.
That's right.
Yeah, that's actually pretty awesome.
Dude, we're the first.
That's right.
Our idea.
But yeah, bird's eye view. I don't see any bird's eye view, and sometimes, I mean, not all statues, but some you want to see that, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That should be your new tagline: "Reventure revolutionizes," and that, you know, or something like that, or, you know, double R. Yeah, write it down. Write it down.
Go ahead, write that down.
So what is this? I saw this earlier today. I wasn't sure what the different colors represent.
That's when I was working with Alfred. He's Alfred Prodetis. He used to work at Sideshow. He's freelance now. Amazing sculptor, but he also is a great like digital engineer. And this is like a color block. He does a show like how he wants to break it up for engineering, and he has a great mind for like, oh, he knows what like the 3D printer needs, what mold and cast needs, and painters. Because it's like the three things you usually think about when you think about breaking a thing up. Then when you give it to the factory, they do their whole own thing with it. But for us, it's kind of like, how can this thing puzzle together? So this is something he sends to me before he does it, and it's like a great visual guide. And I've never had a note from him to like, oh, also break that off, because he kind of like knows it, you know?
That's cool.
Yeah,
that's really neat.
I probably butchered his last name. I just know him as Alfred, and whenever I see his name spelled out and it's like, you know, Spanish, white. I'm just like, man, I can't do this. I'm like, oh, that is, yeah. And then that's actually the breakdown after it's keyed. It's great. It's fun. It's fun seeing like the breakdown of the thing. So it won't come like that to the collector, but that's how we sent it to the printer. That's how we got the parts back, and that's what Heath is currently painting.
This is how when I get prototypes from Chad, this is what they look like. Yeah,
dude, 100%. Yeah.
Yep.
And how are they to assemble? Are they?
Oh my God. Well, I usually sometimes I get like little pieces of tape on there and stuff, because it's obviously not finished. It's just it's just printed out, plastic, and it's like, it's really neat. It's sometimes it can be pretty challenging sometimes, but it's pretty neat. And there they are, actually printed out there.
That was before it got lost in the mail, and we thought we lost it forever. So that was pictures from the 3D printer in South Korea. They actually printed us a second one after it got lost, and they're holding on to it right now. So there's actually two 3D prints of this thing. They're all, I love them. Worked with them for years. They're great. You can see how big. I mean, that's a life-size bust. Like, look at that. You can imagine how big that cape is in the torso, and that was like one print. It's crazy.
It's awesome. Love all the skulls in the base. That looks great. Yeah, this really gives you.
These are just funny photos because it got lost in the mail, got stuck at customs. They opened it up and repacked it, quote unquote. And this is when I opened it, literally how it was shoved back in the box. There's 3 inches of no bubble on the top, and it was just the torso. And when I took the torso out, it was laying right on top of the cape and the shoulder pad. You can see the arm against the back of the box. It's like, you guys suck. Just like nothing came broken, thank God. That's how, like, when I opened it, my heart dropped, and I pulled it all out, and nothing was broken. I was shocked. I was absolutely shocked. So
you always say a little prayer. Well, it's like that time I sent you the Two-Face back. I don't remember where you guys were displaying that, but that little matchstick head was already broken off. That little on the Two-Face base. It's like little stuff like that. It's like, what can you do sometimes?
Yep. And my wife for scale, that's our Sideshow Apples. It's gonna be my 5'1" wife.
Yep. Yeah. Sure looks great printed out.
And so Heath is currently painting it with Dawn and with a Tweeterhead project. He's jumping between the 3. So it's cool because he just started basing it out, and that was just the primered arm without color on it yet. But it's cool seeing, like, when you're used to seeing things like that 3D print color, then you see like color get applied to it. It's like, oh, it's happening. It's becoming real.
It's coming to life.
So this is doing like a metal flaking. He has his metal flake stuff. He uses like a wax gun, like a little heat dipper like thing, and he's applying the metal flake to it. So you can kind of see that on that left picture, what's been flaked and what hasn't. And then that becomes his new base. They give it like a new primer that he can then paint over. And so he can dull it, make it brighter. And then when he wipes it away, it goes back to like that is like your base coat essentially. So it's a really tedious process, but something he learned when he was at Sideshow working on the old Weta Lord of the Rings pieces. When we went to the factory, they were doing this to get those metal looks on like Sauron and the metal armor pieces. So he's been using that ever since for this kind of stuff.
It looks real.
Yeah, you can see some of the other pieces.
Honestly, I've seen it in person. It really does look insane.
And the chainmail down below, like it just looks like real armor.
Mm-hmm.
I was just in London, and we went to the Tower of London, and they had all the actual real, pieces of armor there, which is absolutely incredible. And that's exactly what this stuff looked like. It is awesome.
Yeah, this stuff's way lighter and way more fragile. It wouldn't work in war.
Yeah. Don't actually wear this. Look at that.
Yeah, so that picture on the left is him just applying it, just like this tedious thing to each piece of the chainmail. It's like gets zone out for hours. But on the right, the upper left, that's it flaked and painted. And then on the right is just the flake with the base paint. So you can kind of see like the progress. And the horn, the base of the horn is just black. So you kind of see like unpainted, flaked and painted. And we're doing that to the chainmail too. So it's just going to be insane when it's done.
Oops, sorry.
Cool.
There's Heath again, guy. And there's my buff arm. Todd took that photo when he was visiting to show how my skinny arm helps make the Death Dealer arm look bigger.
Yeah. Your arm looks way bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Might be the perspective.
Said it's not life size. I don't know. And now I'm like questioning myself. Like,
No, it is definitely life size. We
Okay.
should have gotten a better photo
life
because it's like you're low and it's behind me.
Yeah, you can't go by Igo's because the perspectives, his arms in the front.
Dude, it's when you see his
You know,
fist
that's
is
true.
like the
That's very
size of
true.
my fist. It's crazy. Yeah.
I don't.
Definitely. Yeah.
Sizzle's asking Dave, what's your preferences and why on polystone or silicone? I don't think you've ever worked with silicone, have you?
No, I don't really have a desire to either because they're like, oh, it's forever, like 20-year industrial silicone. I'm like, dude, I'll believe it when I see it. And I see other pieces that had silicone bust. I'm like, Todd has one. I don't want to say what the pieces to trash the company, but there's like a life-size bust that had silicone that from like years ago. It just looks horrible. It just doesn't look like, but I know it's gotten better since then and people talk about it, but unless there's a real benefit, and I think usually it's like because you're doing like punched hair or something, it just helps. But with this death dealer with the one arm, I'm like, we're not doing silicone.
No, doesn't need it.
Yeah, there's no point. There's no point.
And that would also increase the cost tenfold. It's like this, like keep the cost down.
Some pieces it makes sense, but some pieces it makes sense. The death dealer makes no sense. So.
That's right.
All right, what is that on the right?
Yeah,
I was going to say, it looks like we have a little teaser here.
Jeff's posting. Hurry, Jeff, go! But
post this in your sanctuary, Jeff.
But so we were talking about, and I wish I comped this together a little differently, but what, it's fine. But it's kind of like this is like a what's next. So Egyptian Queen's coming up. These are the next 3. But I wish I did another Photoshop of like Egyptian Queen with them because we want to show like a variety of females where Queen is this like heavy triangle and she has a certain presence to her. Dawn's really light, almost like a flower composition where it starts skinnier and gets bigger as it goes to the top, like a I don't know, like a bouquet or something. Mm-hmm. It's joyful. And so we're like, let's do something like, let's do another girl, but go like death metal. So we were just like looking, and Todd and I picked out 5 different things, not think of death metal, just like what is different. We talked about cat girl and, it's been done before, what hasn't been done before, what feels heavy metal. And so I talked to Frankie, and this is in the folder of stuff he said we could do. And I'm like, what do you think of this? He's like, dude, no one's done that before. Well, I'll let Frankie say what, if he hated the idea or didn't hate the idea.
No, again, I mean, I'm not opposed to most of them, to be honest. I feel like this piece specifically is one that people love. It's got like more of the cult following to it, where it's like middle of the pack sales for us in prints and stuff, but it's always one that I've been drawn to. I've always grown up around the horror pieces, and those are the ones I was very particular about. But it's a very fun piece, and since nobody's done it, I feel like not a lot of people hit the women because, again, nobody wants to sell nude statues because people can't buy the nude statues to display in their homes. Mm-hmm. So they always hit the death dealer, which is like the easy sell. They obviously ARH did Cat Girl. Then there were a couple other random ones, but for the most part, like I feel like a lot of the pieces have fallen off pretty much by the wayside. So this one I was super excited when they said they were going to do it next. Again, I think I feel that way with most pieces. So this one's a really fun one for me.
I'm going to agree with you. I'm excited that y'all are doing this one, and I want to see how the portrait's going to turn out on this one.
I don't even know why I darken it now that we're talking. I'm like, I should have just like put the actual images in there, but like whatever. It's like, oh, teaser, what are we going to do? And we're all talking about it, like worst kept secret ever. Like old Coldplay camera just caught us like cheating on our life. All right, whatever. But yeah, this is the portrait's crazy. Not to give it away, but Frankie also showed us like one of his grandfather's studies for this piece, which had a different portrait. So this might be our first like swap out portrait to kind of celebrate the original idea of painting kind of thing, which would be super freaking cool. And let's say pair really well with if you have a Thanos statue and you don't have a death you like yet, you might really like this one. So and she has cool animals, like she has a cool lizard and the cool snake. I didn't even realize until I was photoshopping this, I'm like, oh shit, she's holding the snake. That's gonna suck to paint. God dang it. So yeah. It's gonna be another hard one.
Now, the thing I find interesting about all of these is you mentioned like the nudity and stuff. And nudity might not be for everybody, but I do feel like after looking at all these pieces, they feel more like art to me. Mm-hmm. It's like, yes, there's a Batman statue, that's art, but like these are art pieces. And so I think more people will be accepting of that just the way they're presented, because it's not only 3D art, but it's based on actual beautiful paintings as well. Yeah. And so I think it really translates well it's just a beautiful art form, I think.
And what's crazy, and someone interrupt me, sorry, I keep jumping in, and I want to be I'm a hog, just talk over, just like, Dave, shut up, let me talk for a second. But like what's crazy culturally too, in America at least, is like how much of a taboo like nudity is in any way, but like violence is okay. You know, and I've dealt with this with other licensors before, where they're like, you know, oh, you can have this guy being murdered or whatever, and like in their shows and movies, like people getting shot with guns, but show a little bit of female skin, and they're like, whoa, and it's like insane to me, where it's like we're literally born this way, you know. And sure, I get like there's industries that profit off of like over sexualizing things and making it feel like obviously like pornographic as it is, like in that industry it is, but here it's like there's just the nude female body, and it's like not
It's
a big
art.
deal. Yeah, it's like it's crazy how accepted violence is here in America. And my friend from Europe actually pointed this out, because we're working on a book together, and like all these art books, like they're okay with like showing these violent images, but as soon as it becomes nudity, it's like now it's adult. It's like, dude, like it's crazy.
America, I tell you.
Now, I have a question about a future piece. Are y'all going to do Beauty and the Beast?
Dude, I want to see that piece so badly.
I do too. I want to see how y'all would bring that to life.
That would be tough with the demon and stuff. But that's one of those pieces. So we have that one in the museum, and that's one that, like, every time I walk by it, I just sit there and stare at it. That one, and there's a piece called Mammoth, and those two are some of my favorites to look at in there. And they're both Mammoth is
one of my favorite, Frankie.
Dude,
I love.
You have to see it in person. It's unbelievable. It's probably in the museum is my favorite piece to look at. There's just so much into it that I found myself being drawn to it every time I'm in there. But yeah, Beauty and the Beast though is one of those pieces where it's like bottom of the crazy. It doesn't sell super well as a print, but I just have like this crazy respect for it because of how different it is in a sense. It's just like, I don't know. There's something about it, but yeah, that one I would vote for. I'd cast my vote for Beauty and the Beast.
Sure would be dynamic.
So it's a great one too. There's like two full figures and how big that guy is, and she's holding that spear back. It's like, how do you do it? Make it work? You know, so it'd be interesting. It's like you could do just her, and you could do the Beast, and two separate pieces, or a bundle, or something.
Especially with the water at the for the base, getting that splash right for his foot. How do you do her portrait, since her back is actually to us and we don't see her portrait? So there's a lot of interpretation.
Exactly.
You could
It'd be difficult too, because
that's the thing. I mean, there's so many cool Frazetta pieces, but it's like, does it work in 3D? Because yeah, you could make this a statue, but then you're going to either display it with the Beast or the Beauty, and you're going to be missing something. You know what I mean? You'd really need this to spin around, like when you're displaying it. And
I think height would be difficult too, because his back arm is holding on to a ledge or something. And so, you know, to make that work, you'd have to have something up there for him to be gripping.
I would probably just make his hand open, like he's just like, out of my way, whatever.
Oh, you could do that. Yeah, that's a good idea.
I mean, I love it. It is amazing. I've never even seen this piece until right now.
Dude, her spear is so sick too. It's very like futuristic.
Yeah. Oh my god. Oh my god. That's the thing too. It's like a retro futuristic, and that's why I love.
Yeah. Well, and her face, it's gonna look like every other female's face, to be honest. There's a piece he did with Eowyn in The Witch King, and I feel like that would be Beauty and the Beast's face. Like again, like every other female, it's a small kind of like upturned nose and very kind of like triangular face. But yeah, I feel like that's what I would want with her face. Say everything else.
Artist Future is asking a little bit about the Death Dealer on horse. It was kind of mentioned that it could be a possibility down the road, maybe.
Another company.
Yeah, I mean,
Frankie.
Yeah,
right?
like we wanted to do some stuff that hasn't been done yet in statue form. But it's not like we're never going to do that. We would be open to it for sure, of course. But we wanted to do things that haven't been made first and foremost, you know. But obviously,
I would veto it.
Oh, sorry.
I would veto that idea, just because again, we do have another company coming up with it soon, which obviously like that kind of changes things, but it's just been done so many times that personally I'm over it. I love that piece. It deserves all the respect it gets. But when you see it 50 times, you can't, like, it's the same statue, right? It's like different sculptors do it in a different style, but it's still the same piece. So like what I would want from Death Dealer is honestly them to take the character and to do something with him that isn't like the artwork. Because again, I've seen
What would
statues of Death Dealer 3, Death Dealer 1. I want to see him like fighting something different. Than like I know again level 52, which I don't even want to bring the statue up because that was a problem, but they had Death Dealer literally like slamming this thing into the ground, and it was a sick, like it was really cool to see Death Dealer in a different pose and kind of like again a Batman statue where it's like he's doing different things in each statue to where he's like actually a thing and not just a piece of artwork anymore. That would be what I would ask if we do any more Death Dealers, is something like that. Because again, I have rights to Death Dealer 1, 3, 3 revised, and 5 and 7. 7's never been a statue. 3 and 3 revised have been statues like 20 times, along with 1. And it's like again, it's just the same thing over and over and over. So that's what I'm saying about that. So if anybody wants to do a Death Dealer or have them do a Death Dealer, I want to see them actually like go crazy with it, because I've seen what Dave can do with everything else, and it would just be sick to see him actually.
I have an idea now. Now that we're talking, I'm like, ooh, my wheel. Like I just like, all right, I got an idea, guys. Don't worry, we got it.
don't say
Nice.
don't say it. Don't say it.
Here's a black silhouette.
Yes. Show a black shadow.
Oh, that sounds sick. That sounds
Well,
amazing.
in IGO we trust. So that's right. Here we go. So let's see. I guess we're ready to the Tweeterhead section next. Move on a little bit. So these are some pieces, Dave, that you've worked on for the Master of the Universe line from Tweeterhead.
I just gave you like a little bit of recent ones in case people want to talk or ask questions or anything about it. There's also that, I don't know, do you have that lineup one, Chris? That shows like the bunch of
Yes.
them?
Yeah. Where do I have it?
That's cool. Here's Man at Arms. He's cool. White guy with orange armor. And Tila. There we go.
There.
Yeah, those is a fun one. I always try and update this graphic once in a while, whether it's for like a panel at PowerCon, like where I met Frankie, or for this kind of thing. So I always update with like new prototypes and stuff. But it was just a line I've been working on, forever, even at Sideshow and getting to work on it now at Tweeterhead. And it's cool because this, it shows we only have a couple more pieces to like get to before like Tweeterhead can now be just Tweeterhead, So we've talked about revisiting and doing a new He-Man 2.0 and Evelyn and She-Ra. I think we've talked about it at some point, casually. We haven't formally announced stuff before, but it's real fun for me. I know we talk about, and Chris, I know you guys talked about many times, like lines and how lines can stop and they don't really finish. Like I know one of the biggest ones was like the Prime 1 Arkham line, kind of like stopping with I forgot if they did come out with Poison Ivy eventually or not, or which ones are missing in that one. But it's like
They did.
Yeah, it's like you get so far and then it's like, and where do you stop a line? Like people give Chad crap sometimes for like not taking the superpowers line far enough. He's like, well, I did over 20 pieces for it. Like what do you want from me? And with this one, it's been fun to have something where I can keep picking away at these characters and work on them. And again, it was fun because this line is what brought me and Frankie together to work on the Frazetta stuff. And obviously these pieces are all in various ways inspired. Like Frank's one of my top 3 artists of all time, from college. I didn't know of him when I was younger, but in art college is when I was exposed to him, and it was like mind blowing. I was like, what? So that definitely is part of the DNA of this line, and it's been fun working on it. And
You do have some new stuff coming, it looks like.
yeah, so we talked about, so Scareglow, we've shown concept art before. It's been another 2-year project, just like Egyptian Queen, where it's like started design a while ago, had other stuff to do. Certain projects took a little longer. So it's fun to finally get the sculpt complete, get it sculpt approved. And it's actually in print and paint with Heath right now, Block 4. And these are just some quick renders I did. They don't, renders can sometimes make a piece look better or not as good or whatever. And these were licensor turnaround, so they weren't like, I don't know, cool dynamic shots with perspective pushed or anything like that. But the sculptor designer on this, I always work with sculptors that have a sense of design and want to put, not just like here's drawing sculpted exactly like this. It's always like here's a loose idea and let's go. And the guy who did this, Sedan Veg, he's a Ukrainian-based artist who every time I talk to him, I'm asking how he's doing because he's Ukrainian, Russia, all that bullshit's going on. Mm-hmm. And he's awesome. He's an amazing artist. He's also like surviving this war that's been going on for years and making amazing art, and I'm glad we can work with him because I think we're one of the first like collectible companies to work with him, and he's amazing. He's like just got this like it factor. He worked on my Kaiju Doom Hero Demon figure for my own line, so very similar in terms of like extruded bone, cool creature stuff, and sinewy muscle. But I was so stoked to get this because Scareglow is kind of like a fan favorite in the Motu community. It was like never in the original cartoon show, he was in the original movie, but he was one of the later toys. He just had this cool factor. He's like glow in the dark skeleton warrior. You know, it's like, how cool is that? So to make him work in the statue line, which is kind of like, you know, Mattel's been great about let me kind of like do my own thing, but it's kind of like I do this like if I could make a movie or like a live action TV show, what would I do? So I thought of like, instead of just being like the original toy intention was just like a muscle body with like a glow in the dark skeleton on the inside, but that wouldn't really work in resin. It'd be really tricky to make that look right and cool. Like it works in illustration, but not in this. So I talked with him about doing like cool extruded bone stuff, and he and Paul Komodo helped me work on initial design stuff, and yeah, just couldn't be happier with how it came out. So
looks great.
Thanks, man.
And there you got next to Skeletor there.
Yeah, so the original concept that we showed, I should have put that in there too. People, you know, were like, oh, the pose changed from the concept. And it's like the concept, when you look at it, you look at the Skeletor statue, if you turn the Skeletor statue, like matches that concept. So I didn't want to repeat the same pose. So we mirrored him and changed it to be like this, I don't know, just cool, like taunting kind of a pose. So he's facing opposite direction. His weapon, his halberd's down now. I think it's still really powerful. He's Scareglow. This is scare you. And the idea of him coming out of this like soul smoke stuff and just being like, he's there, like the Grim Reaper, I thought was like really cool to me. And I think it looks great. So
yeah, they're great together.
Yep.
Thanks,
awesome. And here's some of the prints.
Yeah, and some of the crazy paints Heath's gonna be working with. So it's gonna be insane. It's gonna be like, because his gag is he glows in the dark, but I know glow in the dark paint can kind of compromise color sometimes. So I'm not sure if we're gonna do that, but we're gonna make it very vibrant in the paint. And Heath's testing a blacklight active kind of a thing. So at least if we can't get to glow in the dark, we're gonna use this blacklight stuff. So like, be awesome. So
it's awesome. Very cool. And again, just some of the detail there. Love
that was
it.
gonna be a teaser that we did, but never happened. So I'm like, it's a cool shot. Let's throw it in there.
It's a great shot.
Like, who is this? Black silhouette. Spoiler.
That's Black Silhouette.
There we go.
Yeah. So this is updated. We showed something the other day with maybe She-Ra and maybe not He-Man Faker. And like literally before we put that out, I had a call with Mattel like an hour before, and we originally wanted to do maybe Evil in it like sooner, and then they wanted to push her out. So that's when we were like, all right, let's do maybe not He-Man / Faker. And then they were like, no, let's do Evil Lynn, or maybe, so we moved her back up. So yeah, after her and He-Man, we'll have kind of like a complete Tweeterhead collection. And I'm really happy with how, so right now, like Scareglow's in paint, She-Ra, maybe whoever that is holding the sword up is mostly sculpt complete. We're almost done. Super excited about that. And then the other girl is in early sculpt. So
Sword Girl, wink, wink, might be shown by the end of the year, maybe.
She has a 40th birthday this year. So we're getting this maybe She-Ra out this year for sure. So
that's awesome. That's very cool. Somebody was asking about maybe Triclops. Is that maybe a possibility at all?
People love him. Yeah, it's just like it took me forever to even get to Man at Arms. I always feel like chicks and the villains look cooler in this world, instead of like just normal guys and cosplaying, which I hate saying because I love this property, but I want to get Triclops right. I know he's like I think he's one of the original like 8-back characters. So a lot of people ask about him. But there are things like, when I think of like getting to like He-Man nerdy stuff, I don't know if anyone in here is really as much of a fan as like me. But I always think of like, you gotta go for the main bad guys, the faction leaders. So like He-Man's a faction leader, Skeletor's a faction leader, Hordak's a faction leader, and then you got King Hiss. So I really want to do a King Hiss. I really want to do some of the Horde and some more evil warriors, and Triclops is in there, but he just looks like I don't know. I want to do him right when we get to him. So, yeah.
That's awesome. And that's our photos, folks.
Nice.
Man.
100 slides, Chris. Good job.
100 slides. I was going to say I couldn't figure out because this StreamYard thing is I was trying to figure out if I could just bring up each individual photo, and I was trying to think, it's okay, I'm just going to throw it in a slideshow. So I spent about an hour doing that earlier this afternoon. I'm so glad it actually showed on the screen properly because I really wanted to show everything off because, again, it's just really amazing art to see. And again, thank you to Frankie, Todd, and Dave for taking us behind the scenes, especially. It's awesome to see the art, but I think so many of us that are watching shows like this, we appreciate the process also that go into all of these amazing pieces of art. So I thank you very much for that. Do you guys have any other questions for these gentlemen?
I had a question for Frankie that I heard you guys talking yesterday a little bit. Did I hear correctly? You have a museum in Pennsylvania?
Northeastern PA. We're in Stroudsburg, Pennsylvania. Our site is FrazettaMuseum.com, and we have a nice visit us section up top. We have 40 oils, tons of sketches, and really anything you want to see. So,
Okay.
yeah, go ahead.
I'm in New Jersey. I'm not too far from you.
Oh.
I think, same with Billy. Billy, I think had to go, but yeah, maybe we'll make a trip out there. As far as the statues go, are you going to start maybe adding? Well, you have a statue behind you. I don't know. I'm assuming that's not the museum though. But are you going to start adding statues to your grandfather's museum artwork, or just keeping it just his stuff?
So the museum itself has all of the old statues that we had from licensees. So below the art is like a pedestal kind of deal. And we have statues from back in the 90s still on that. So I don't know where the hell I'm putting Queen, but she will find a spot somewhere in that museum.
I know a guy that has really great podiums. So maybe he could.
Toss that in there. But no, I plan on whenever we have something like that, whether it's a statue or an action figure, we always at least keep one for the museum to have in there. Most of the time people now come in and say, can I buy that? It's maybe 20 years ago you could have bought it, but it's cool to show off kind of what we've done with the artwork, and the way to support the licensees too, to say these guys really helped us with this. And yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I'm definitely going to come check you out one day.
So you just need a plaque with a little QR code now with the new stuff, and then it'll send it right to the Spec Fiction website there. It'd be pretty cool.
That's what we plan on doing, except you can't get internet access in there. It's like a foot of concrete, no internet access. You're in a prison cell when you're in the museum.
They do it so you're not on your phone checking social media. You're enjoying the art.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Just give them a pamphlet on their way out. Say, scan the QR code on your way out.
We have a phone drop box when you walk in that you just touch your phone and you don't get it back till you're.
That's awesome.
Did you guys want to talk about pricing on Queen, or do you want to wait for Tuesday?
On Jeff, sorry.
Pricing on Queen? Pricing on Queen? Sure.
Do you want to talk about pricing at all today, or do you want to wait for Tuesday?
Your call, Todd. We were going to originally post it today, but I think we
did. We posted it.
Oh, we did? Cool. So, yeah, I guess I didn't know if we did or didn't. We're really organized over here. So,
we're super organized. We're doing a bunch of stuff on the same day all the time. So the deluxe one is $13.50, but we have a $13.49. But we have a promotion until the 31st of August or July that will be $12.99, and then that's a deluxe 1/4 scale, and then the regular 1/4 scale will be $9.99. Again, we have $50 off until the end of July. So it'll be $9.49, and then the deluxe 1/10 scale will be $3.49, $2.99, or no, sorry, it's $25 off. So it's $3.50 minus $25, so it's $3.25 plus shipping. Those are the prices. We're super organized, and I just wanted to let you guys know how organized we are with that. What I just said. So yeah, thank you for listening. But yeah, it's all on our Instagram and it's on our Facebook, and yeah, we'll post again. We posted today, so all the pricing is actually on our Instagram and Facebook, and then tomorrow we'll post. We'll reiterate it, and then Tuesday it goes on sale. So
I think that those prices seem very competitive to what we're seeing in terms of other quarter scales, and just knowing how big that base is and how much goes into the base, I feel like there's value there.
I mean, yeah. Look. Would we like to price it less? Of course, but that the factory gave us a quote, and it was much higher than we anticipated. And it's not like we're making like $1,000. You know what I mean? Like we're doing our best, and that's the best price we could do as of now. We are talking to the factory to see if we can bring the prices down. If they do bring the prices down, we will obviously, give that to the customers in shipping or something like that. But this is just like as fair as we could do as of now. So.
Do you know, like, maybe it's too early in the process, but like boxes, like, do you think it'll be one box for the deluxe? Do you think it'll be two?
It's one. So the factory actually did quote us like a box size, and the deluxe one will be one box. It's a very big box. It's like 37 by 37, I think by like 25 or something like that. So that is technically an oversized box. We can try. What I'm going to try to do is get them to do two boxes, because if you do one oversized box, generally that means it's about $200 to ship it in the continental United States. So I'm going to see if they can do two boxes, and that would bring it down by like $70. So we could get it to like $130 for the giant one. The other ones are going to be regular boxes.
I wouldn't know that. I'd be like, what?
Yeah. So again, we're all collectors. We all collect. So I think about that stuff, and I want to, obviously I don't want shipping to be so much, $200. So we'll talk to the factory about that. And if we can get it in two boxes, it's actually going to be cheaper than if we do one giant box, because it's oversized for UPS and FedEx. You know what I mean? So,
well, thank you for the transparency, because it really does help collectors, plan. Like you said, it's like, you have to factor in all of these costs,
Yeah. I understand that more than anyone, and I'm sure everyone on this panel does,
and sometimes two boxes is more money, but sometimes I'd rather have two boxes, because when you have one giant box, sometimes it's hard to fit through the door, or I keep all my boxes in my attic. Half of the boxes I can't even fit through. I got to break them down and like squeeze them up there.
What's crazy with that, Eric, is when I was talking to Steve Wang at Monsterpalooza, which I know Jeff saw too, that like life-size T-Rex head that they had.
Yeah.
When someone uses it, they always they have them confirm this will not fit through a door. You have to have this much space. So one guy's like, no, one guy who bought it is breaking down, like he's breaking down part of his house to bring it into a custom display and rebuilding his wall. I'm like,
that sounds like a Mr. X problem, right?
Yeah, I'm just thinking of
crazy.
That's 100% yes.
Yeah,
I was at his house, and he cannot fit it down his.
I know.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's still in his living room by the stairs, right?
Yeah. His wife is very upset. But
what piece was that?
Queen Studios Balrog, that giant face, and it just wouldn't come down.
I had some people buy the Queen Studios T-Rex. I think it's 1/6 scale head. Same thing. They like a few weeks later, they're like, "Oh, Queen Studios told me like it won't fit through my door, so I can't buy it." I will say though, the Egyptian Queen will fit. I think will fit through all doors. I'm pretty sure.
All doors matter.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah, we won't have an issue with that. But yeah, no, obviously, look, again, we want to make the shipping as cheap as we can. So we'll talk to the factory, et cetera, and try to figure it out, of course. Yeah.
Well, I do want to remind everybody that it does go up for pre-order. Again, double check this at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time at specfictioncollectibles.com. Again, we can't recommend them enough. Again, so much talent involved with these projects. And so I personally can't thank you guys enough for coming on. I always love the insight, and you're just all really cool dudes. So we really appreciate your time.
Thanks, man.
Likewise.
Thanks for having us on, guys. Thanks for the great questions and everything. That's a huge part of this too, is to connect with collectors, not just talk at them, but hopefully have them ask questions and engage. And that's a huge part of it. So thank you for having us on, Chris. And
Absolutely. Well, thanks everybody for watching. Appreciate the panel as well. Thank you, gentlemen. And make sure you hit the like button on the way out. That does help us out. And definitely, again, visit Todd at Spec Fiction. So thank you guys very much. See you in the back cave. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Good night. Bye-bye.
See you guys. Thank you so much.